Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today on my lithop chore of watering / looking at roots. I decided to give it a try to see how I do. It's a little more difficult to work on my lithops on a camera than it is on a single plant, but let's see how we do. So I see a few things that I'm concerned with on my lithops. They look beautiful at the top, but sorry, my dogs. They look beautiful on the top, but my concern is the roots. And the reason is because when I get my lithops, I trim the roots back. And as you can see from here, I do have a few little pieces of root growing. And it's splitting, but I see some strange things like, I know that's wrinkled and I know that's splitting and that's okay, but my concern is that I don't see more roots than what I have here. And I've done some research online that lithops should be watered even if they're splitting, depending on what the roots look like. And as well as the suggestion was you want to water them because if they do have root hairs and you don't water them, the root hairs will die off and then they will die of root rot, which is why I'm concerned at this point for the ones I'm showing you. I water these sparingly once or twice a week, and I don't think that's enough, being in this Bonsai Jack Grit mix. I'll post the YouTube channel video that I watched from Jane Evans on lithops that led me down this path as to why they should be watered more, especially in dry mix like this, than what's typically the rule of thumb in our world of lithops. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm just going to move this over here. Oh, it's so heavy. And one of the things too is I keep them all together in this shelving or this like this because one, it's just easier to deal with, and I can move them so much easier, and having them in these small pots, I can get more on my table. So what I'm going to do here is simply go ahead and give a good soak to the roots. Lay them out here as I do this. I have tried what's the word, doing a water treatment or water therapy for some lithops, but it hasn't worked, or if I just may not be patient, which is definitely a thing. And you see how fast it's coming out. So the Bonsai Jack Grit mix is great, but you have to remember how dry it gets within like 90 minutes. That's why I have to water these a lot more than if I had it with some soil. But I've had them with soil and they just didn't thrive for me. Maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it's dumb luck, but I just feel like they do well in this. I may lose more, but that's just what happens with lithops. I'm finding is you just have to learn. I'm not here to say the right way of doing things. I'm just here kind of sharing what I've learned and what has worked for me. We'll know more in a couple months if these survive. But I feel like what my biggest challenge is right now is not having root hairs. And which means I'm going to have to pretty much nurse these things with water until they start to regrow again. Because right now, they're all in, I don't believe they're dormant because they're trying to grow their leaf inside. And to grow their leaf, they need to be nourished. And they can only be nourished with little root hairs. And I just don't have any. So there's one. Another thing I like about this tray and having this cut in here is I can put this on this tray and not have to worry about the water. So in this case, this one is the only one that doesn't have root hairs in here. So as you can see, I've got all three of these are splitting. So I'm just going to wet this spot here. I'm going to wet him down. And it's just putting back in. Don't be afraid. I'm not afraid. I'll just say that. I'm not afraid to take my lithops out if I'm concerned about them. And I'm always concerned about them. So I would rather get them a little unsettled if they do have root hairs and they have a little bit of grit around those hairs. But if I can't pull it up, like this one, I'm not pulling hard, but if there's resistance, I don't pull it up. I could probably lift this one up. There's no resistance here. So, but you see this one has hair, or a little bit of root hair though, coming out, which is good. So just put him back down in there. So like I say, each and every lithop takes care, and you have to give a choice as to how to treat it. It's if like this one, for example, and this one, and really this one, I only put water in there to help get that grit back a little bit. But I will water these around the roots twice a week. The ones that have no root hairs like this, I'm going to start doing what I'm doing in this video probably twice a week, if not 3 times a week. And we'll just see. We'll just see how it goes. I want to show you. So I lost one of these babies yesterday from rot, and it had no root hairs. So what I did yesterday is I recut this because there was no root hairs on these either, but he's much more plumped and he's greener today, which makes me happy. But that tells me what I have to do is that's why I'm doing what I'm doing today, is to prove out my thought on I need to nurse these babies to health, to make sure that they get enough water to be able to have their baby and grow the hairs around the roots, or root hairs. Sorry, I don't have the technical jargons down or anything, but I need to get that out. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. And you'll hear me in my videos about referencing purple, and I think this video will give you an idea as to what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's my favorite color. I have a little bit of an obsession with it. If I could have all things purple, I would, especially my pots. So in this case, I want to see, look, this I noticed yesterday too. So it's already, it started getting this root rot, but he's a lot harder today. Yesterday, I thought, oh man, I'm going to have to throw him out. But I'm going to give him a chance with this because he's plumper, and because he's plumper, he still has a white taproot. I'm going to keep doing this just like that and see how it goes. So wish me luck. So I think what I'll do is just fast forward the rest of this because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pots of lithops with 3 to 4 in them. So I'm sure this will be quite boring for everybody, but I thought I'd share what I'm doing. Now this guy, he's got some roots coming out, but again, I'm not real comfortable, so yeah, I don't know if I'll cut the roots from anymore. I think it worked well during their cycle when I got them in the fall when they were really pumping out energy, but I don't know. I know that there's a lady on YouTube I watched that encourages the cutting of the roots, and I do believe that to be the case, but I think that it helps, but I think also it just really too, it depends on the timing. And anyone collecting or that has lithops, just a reminder, they like to be in the ground. They don't like to be an inch up above the ground. I've seen so many people that, even nurseries that, and I think a lot of that has to do with too little light, too much fertilizer, and they're just huge. And that's just not healthy. So I would encourage you that if you're watching this video, that you take a look at your lithops and make sure they're not standing out over, too big of an inch of the ground. So now this one flowered in September, and I was scared to death that they were going to die, but what I was encouraged to not be too scared about that with everyone I've watched, and eventually they start splitting. And this one never had a flower, and this one is splitting. So, but I did have to water it. So again, those that are concerned about, oh, don't break the rules. Well, not everyone's meant to play by the rules based off what I've learned. So, and if you don't worry about it, I mean, obviously, if this makes you uncomfortable, don't do it to yours, and just follow me and see how mine do in the next few months, and see from there. That's the nice thing about these plant videos, is you can see how someone does certain, does some things and then make the decision whether or not you want to do them. Now these are really nice, and this one's nice and in there. So is this one. This one's in there. This one is not in there, but he's splitting. But see, no root. Or no, there's no root hairs. So this is another one that I need to baby. And honestly, I might even cut it back because I don't see any white. So let me go get my scissors. I should have brought my box. Okay. It's hard to see. It doesn't look real great of a root, so I may lose this one. And I don't want to cut too much. So we'll just see. I think it's interesting how many of us do different things. And that's good. That's what being human's all about, right? I don't even need to check these. I know that these are strong and healthy. But I'm going to go ahead and give them just a little bit of quick root refresh on water. See how fast it comes in? I mean, this is the fastest draining soil you can get. But the downside is how quickly they dry out. So that's why a lot of times the rules can't apply to everyone all the time. I encourage you to watch Jane Evans' video on cultivating lithops. It's about 50 minutes, and it's worth every minute to watch. I mean, I have notes in my notes page on that video that I reflect on a lot. I believe in what she said. And I'd be curious to hear what you have to say on her as well, if you watch it. So this is nice and solid. What's neat about these two, these are like my first two, only two are left out of my original that I bought. And they were in a 911 phase, kind of like these others that I just showed you. And when I cut the roots and I put them in this grit, which was in the fall, or actually, excuse me, it was in the summer. And I think I waited maybe a month and then when I pulled them out, they had beautiful long roots. That's why I know that cutting the roots work. I think it's a matter of timing, because a lot of these, like these, for example, I got these in October. So I think that's really my big differences that I'm just realizing as I'm talking in this video. But this is one that I just don't think he's going to make it, but he's hanging on. He's doing his best to hang on. I just think he's getting smaller and smaller. So I don't know. So see, it's another one that I have to babysit. So if you aren't a lithop owner, I might have just convinced you not to ever be one. And I will say that my mom, who wanted lithops like me in the beginning, I don't think she'll be getting any more because she doesn't understand them, and they take so much, they do take a lot of work, but I love them. And I love trying to solve these kinds of problems. And it's really encouraging when I can take a lithop that's on the brink of death back. So don't be afraid. Fight for your lithops if you get them. So this one, as you can see, he's got a ways. He's been trying to have a baby now for a while, and he's still real plump and thick. So these guys are they're real good. I'm just gonna, and remember, I also know when I bought these, even though I believe these have root hairs, there's always that possibility they don't. And so I just very easily put water around on those. Now these are other ones that I'm not sure, you know, like this one. See, this one has more coming out, which is great. That's encouraging because he didn't have any before, but he's pretty wrinkled. But I think that has a lot to do also with the stages that they're in. It's not down enough. Let me get these guys out. So you can see here, there's still white though, but let's just go ahead and I'll be truthful. I won't be getting small ones again. They're so, oh, that's encouraging. Look at that. They are so much more difficult than the bigger ones, the ones that have been alive longest. You know, I like getting the 2-3-year-old lithops because they're stable. Now, that doesn't mean, I don't know all the lithops and their stages, or not stages, but like cycles of, like, I can't remember the name of these. They're like Peppermint Crème or something like that. But I don't know if they'll get any bigger, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is, you know, depending on the species, I don't know how big that they can get. And I wish when I buy them, I knew that answer, you know, that answer to my question, because I wouldn't get anything that wouldn't get at least this size. And not to say that those are any easier, it's just I have better chances with the larger ones. So I know these are good. These are in great shape. All right. And just because the water comes out the bottom doesn't mean I'm getting what I need to get wet. That's another reason why I like taking them out and just making sure that the root gets hit. But I'm not going to do that with the ones that I believe are established. Now, I made a video the other day about this one. These two are on my watch list as well. So I already know that this one is, these both have no root hairs, but these do. So I'm going to go ahead and oh, that's good. Hey, look at that. That was just overnight. It's exciting. One of the things that I did too is I put them a little deeper in the grit. Oh, beautiful. Okay, that was just gorgeous. That made my day right there. I'll probably do the same with my split rocks eventually. they each have to do their own. I have to do the care for each of those as well. You know, when I order them from Etsy, just like these, I trim the roots, and if there's no root hairs, I have to make sure that they're getting enough water to be able to do what they're supposed to do. One more, guys, and then that's it. So this feels good, but I'm not positive. Yeah, I see that lifting. I feel like that there's good hair. Yeah. Oh, there's some cotton on there for when I got it in the mail. Yeah, I'm not pulling that one out. Yep. I think those are good too. So just give them a little bit of squirt. And that's it, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I know that this goes against a lot of everything we've been taught, documents I've read, but I think everyone has to, like I said before, everyone has to make their own decisions on what they're going to do with their lithops and how they raise them. And being that I live in Ohio, and right now we're in the winter, and I just have lights over my lithops and very little sun. Anyways, thanks for joining me today on my chores of babying my lithops. And let me know if you have any questions or comments. Hopefully I can answer them. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and like button if you enjoyed this type of video, and I'll do more. And have a great rest of your day. Thank you.